Chronic Pain in the Demon coming to you live. Another video, a short video. Now, we just lost trouble in Atlanta about 5 days ago. In the same situation with a female. Now in Chicago, you lost FBG Cash. FBG Cash was on the up and up, just got signed, did a sting in prison, and I hoped he had learned some stuff from his prison incarceration and abide by certain doctrine and rules. I guess he tried the best he could, but life caught up with him. Life caught up with him. You have to understand, folks, what goes around comes around. And you also have to understand karma never missed its address. You see in Chicago their lifestyle, the young folks, especially the gang members, because you have good people that live in Chicago. Chicago is a very nice place where you have good places in Chicago, you know. But the gang war is just out of hand. And the way the young folks represent life, some of them anyway, it's out of hand. So coming back to FBG Cash, that's where you're from. You know how the city is. You just got signed. What are you doing there? 5:30 in the morning. Man, you got signed. You know how Chicago is. You know what happened to your friend FBG Duck. You know the situation with you and other guys. You made this songs. FBG Duck, mom, and your dad went at it as far as money's concerned. So there's a lot of feelings in the city, a lot of emotions in the city. You got signed, you went away to Minnesota, you have security around you 24/7. You went back to Chicago, no security. You should have never went back to your Chicago neighborhood, especially where you got killed at. In my opinion, it's like you were asking for it. Knowing it could be a bounty on your head for a lot of reasons. Not going to get into them. But young man, you should have known better. And you also should have did better. Because the simple fact that you gave good advice to your ops, your friends, I shouldn't say your ops, your friends, your associates, you give them advice as how to move in the city of Chicago, if they're there, and you went back to Chicago slipping, and you got caught sliding, and they turned you over. You said it wasn't going to happen. You said you was going to live out your life in that old folks' home. That's what you said on your last interview. Only if you know time was of the essence. The countdown was on. The clock was ticking. People were preparing. They were watching your every move. It seems like they watch you since you got off that airplane, went to the studio, making all your moves, until you got to that point of your demise. Because eyes were on you 24/7. Once you got off the airplane. And you had a chick driving you around. If you know you are who you are, you know how to get away, get out of Dodge. Don't let a chick drive you. They easily get paranoid, some of them. And they'll cause your demise. Handle with yourself. One hand on the wheel, one hand busting, protecting yourself at all times. My condolence to you, young man, because I don't understand what's going on in the neck of your woods, but it's just tragic. Very tragic. But you should have known better because you spoke about your neighborhood on many occasions. You say how you talk to people about moving different in your neighborhood. So you should apply the same principles to yourself. And because you didn't apply the same principles to yourself, now you reach your demise. It's all about applying principles, especially if you know you're living certain lifestyle. Apply principles. I don't condone these folks' lifestyle. I listen to some of their music. Some of them I don't listen to. Some of the times I listen to their rhetorics. Sometimes I don't. I just want to grasp an opinion of who I'm dealing with, of who I'm listening to, of who these persons are. See who, what I mean, behind the music. And that, draws my interest to listen to some of these young folks and what they have to, put forward in the music industry. And a lot of these young folks have great talents. Great talents. But because of all these illusions on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, a lot of people on these platforms, they live an illusion. That's what they portray to you, an illusion. And if you get caught up in these illusions, then it could cause your demise. And that's very sad. Very sad. Because if you fight your way out of poverty and you get to a plateau where you could, live, go somewhere else, Take yourself away from all of that negative elements that surround you. Go somewhere else. Don't stay there. Don't stay into what's negative. Don't stay there. If you're trying to excel, forget about who's saying you're leaving the community. You're leaving the environment because it's bad for you. It's bad for what you're portraying. It's bad for your image. Of course, you're going to look back at them. You're going to support them. And you'll fund them as far as, in different areas, as long as it's legal and right. But do it with discretion. Be mindful how you do it. You can't just say, okay, because they put fences up and they put gates up and they renovate the buildings, that everything is okay. No. And because people can't be hanging out on the block, no. People are still sitting in their cars, smoking, chilling, listening to music, waiting on you. People are leaving the clubs, figuring out what's next. So for cash, for you at 5:30 in the morning, caught lacking, you should have been in your hotel, sleeping. You left the studio? I'm going to my hotel or whatever. Call you an Uber. Uber. Lady, you want to go home? Here's your Uber. Or if I'm trying to go to my hotel, I got me a nice Uber that nobody know who I am and Uber your ass to your hotel. A lot of y'all motherfuckers too loyal. Or you think you're too loyal. And that gets you hemmed up. Hemmed up. You can't keep doing that. Live and learn. If you're not a gangster, don't portray the part. Don't act the part. Because real gangsters know how to move and knows how to act. All these little young folks that I see, you figure because you have 1,000 or 2,000 in your pocket, you're an op, you're a gangster, you're this, you're that. Because you can wear certain designer clothes, you're a gangster, you're this, you're that. No. It comes with a lot more than that. A lot more than that. Discipline, number one. Discipline. You have to learn how to discipline yourself. Because if you don't learn how to discipline yourself, then you might fall prey to anything in the streets. So self-discipline is one of them things out there you should learn, people, if you're moving a certain way. Discipline yourself, learn how to move. Choose your friends wisely. Don't tell everyone where you're going. You don't need to be on social media when you're going somewhere. You don't need to expose where you're going. Put on the phone when you're moving around. Don't tell everybody your space. Don't tell everybody, what your circle are. Don't tell everybody where you are. You don't need to be on social media if you're at your mom's house, or if you're visiting your girlfriend, or if you're chilling with your boys. You don't need to tell everybody exactly where you are, because if you're a public figure and you're a person, of certain caliber, you have to watch how you move. Because if you don't watch how you move, then, quote unquote, the ops are going to catch up to you. And once they catch up to you, that's the end of you. And you have to look at yourself and say, you know what? I bring this on myself, all because of social media. Follow me. You follow me to my grave. All this follow me shit, where is it going? Following a lot of young youths to their grave. Follow me here, follow me there. King Von, all these young greats, follow to their graves by the hands of their own kind. And I want to say one thing. Where is the Black Lives Matter? Where are they to march and say enough is enough? Black Lives Matter. Blacks killing blacks, we have to stop. Black Lives Matter. Where are those people? Are you in California sitting back in your mansion that the money you stole allegedly from the funding? Where are you? Why aren't you in Chicago marching, demonstrating, said enough is enough, so we can't do this no more? Where are you? Black Lives Matter? All that money you collected, you could have sent people to Chicago to represent your brand, put them up in hotels, bus them to certain areas so they could represent the brand Black Lives Matter. Where are you? Black people are dying in Chicago in mass numbers. Young black folks. Black Lives Matter, where are you? I don't see you when black and black crime is happening. I only see you when white and black crime is happening. That's being prejudice. That's not cool. I can't represent that. Be there when your own is killing your own. I've seen so much went on in Philadelphia, Buffalo, New York, other places. Where are you, Black Lives Matter? Where are you? Are you answering? Black Lives Matter, where are you? I'm knocking on the door. Black Lives Matter, you collect so much money. And that guy that worked for CNN, what's his name again? The bald-head black guy? He worked for CNN. And guess what happened? What's his name gave him $100 million. The guy that owned Amazon. What's his name again? Jeff Bezos gave him $100 million just to help the black community. What's his name? I forget his name. Can you remember his name? Just let me know his name. That black guy that worked for CNN that wear the glasses just like me. Jeff Bezos gave him $100 million to help the black community. Where are you, sir? What did you do with that money? We're still waiting. I'm knocking. Did you help the crime rates in any places? Did you help to educate any of the young youths? Black Lives Matter. Did you build anything in the communities to help the young youths? To stray them away from the negative stuff? Did you do anything? At least a gym? At least a gymnasium? What did you do? Black Lives Matter? You go out there, you march, you collect this money. We support you. What did you do? Buy big mansions? Buy big mansions while people are dying? That's what you do with the money? Huh? And think it's funny? It's not funny. Not funny. Not to me. You prey on your own kind. You know better than the other one out there pulling the trigger. You know different than the ones out there pulling the trigger. In my opinion. No different. Because if you're going to prey on your own kind and you want to make sure that you own like 3-4 homes, vacation homes, and we're trying to fight that system within the political system where all these senators have 10, 15 homes, and we talk about that and say, yo, people are dying and suffering, and then you, Black Lives Matter, went out there, campaign for Black Lives Matter, and do the same thing with the money. That's hypocrisy. 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 101. Where are you? I haven't seen you in Chicago, Black Lives Matter. I haven't seen you in Buffalo, New York, Black Lives Matter. I haven't seen you in New York City. I haven't seen you in Florida. I don't see you nowhere where you see black and black crime. But as soon as a white person kills a black person, you're there. Just like Benjamin Crump is ugly ass. You're there, just like that ugly motherfucker. Leeching off black people. Just like Benjamin Crump, you're there. Black Lives Matter. You're no different than fucking Benjamin Crump. You're in it just for an almighty dollar. Not for the people of your skin kind. Tell the truth. Just be real. Be factual. You should be investigated. You should be prosecuted for what you did, because that's a crime. What you did against your people. People came to your gate to interview you. You didn't even want to open your gate to interviewers because you were so embarrassed. You didn't even want to open your gate in LA, in the suburbs, in Calabasas. Calabasas, where the richest of the richest live. That's where you went with people's money. Black Lives Matter. While Chicago is dying. While New York is dying. While Atlanta is dying. While Louisiana is dying. You son of a bitches. Scums of this earth. Savages. But your day's coming. Your day's coming. Because woe upon thee that preys upon thy people. Because your day's coming. And I hope the federal government lets you give account for that money. And if you can't, they prosecute you to the fullest of the law. Of the law. You hear me? I hope they prosecute you to the fullest of the law if you can't give account for all that money. Because when George Floyd died, we see people of color, we see people of every color, those officers portray. You know what I mean? See killings and killings after that. So if you're going to march for that and campaign for that, then campaign for every other lives that we lose in our community. Every other black lives. It doesn't matter if you lose it by another black person or whatever. Especially you should be even more hard on black and black crime so young black folks will understand and make better decisions. You know? You should be even more hard on that. But guess what? Crickets. Dead silence when it's black and black crime. You have this Black Lives Matter New York that painted New York in on the Upper West Side on the street, in Big Street, Black Lives Matter. They painted it. One day someone went there and I guess spray painted it, and it was a big deal. Oh, somebody came and spray painted Black Lives Matter. Oh, this is racist, this is that. But what the fuck y'all done? Nothing for people, for black people, nothing. You collect a bag and run for the hills. You collect a bag and run for the hills. Shame on you. And I'm going to say it, and I'll be the first one to say it. This Black Lives Matter shit was a scam. This Black Lives Matter shit is a scam. And it was a scam. And I'm not going to say no fucking alleged because I know I'm right. Your motherfuckers are scammers. You scam your own kind. You're leeches. You're vultures. Where are you today in Chicago? Where are you today in Philadelphia? Where are you today in New York? Where are you today in Texas? You should be ashamed of yourself every night you go to your bed. Be ashamed of yourself. Talk about Black Lives Matter. I would never wear one of your fucking shirts. I would never wear nothing from you unless I see what you're really doing. You collect over $100 million plus the guy that owned Amazon gave another $100 million to that fucker from CNN that wear glasses just like me. That black guy with the bald head. I forgot his fucking name, you know? And where is that money? I think his name is Ving something, whatever the fuck his name is. Where is he? I haven't seen that guy since he collected $100 million. Believe it me. I haven't seen him on CNN. I haven't seen him nowhere. Where is he? Ridiculous. 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 And for Cash, when you're talking about who killed Cash, FBG Cash, look closer to home. Because FBG Cash killers are close to home. And that's all nothing but a money dispute. That just went overboard. That people weren't paying attention to. People were looking at the signs. People weren't paying attention to certain people in their interviews and what they're saying, their wordings. Their wordings means a lot. Means a lot, folks. Pay attention to details. Everybody looking at Little Dirk? No, that's a scapegoat. People need scapegoats. Yes, Little Dirk is rich and he could do certain things, yes. But he ain't the only one. Look deeper. That man could be innocent. Look deeper than that. The closest to you. That know your every move. When you're playing land. When you're coming in. The ones that you could call, hey, Mama Dukes, I'm coming over. You know, I just got off. I just gave certain things away. Anyway, not everybody could catch that. You know? Look deeper. The war's been brewing for a long time. A long time. A long time. And now it's in maturity. And it's time to pay the piper. It's time to pay the piper. And that's why you see, sadly, this young man lost his life. I am not from Chicago. I have never been to Chicago, but I follow the history of Chicago and the roots of Chicago. I am a man of a certain age. I still listen to young people's rap because, you know, my kids, they're young and I listen to the music as well. And I appreciate good music. So that's why I'm able to speak on these things, you know, because I have two kids, you know, high school teacher, one of them, and the other one is incarcerated, my son. I'm ashamed of it. I don't lie about my life when I come on these things. I don't, you know, because there's no need. I have one child that's, you know, yes, succeeded. They're both educated, but one just chose a different path. But I still support both of them, you know. But the one that chose the wrong path, I let him know, which is my son. I said, listen, I'll support you in certain ways, but when you fuck up, you fuck up. I'm not going to support you to fuck up. You're going to pay for that. Not me. Not your sister. You. Yeah. And that's how he's learning. So now he said he's become a better man. I'll wait and see. Because you know what? I'm not taking his word for it. You're going to prove that to me. Because I took care of you all your goddamn life and you became a fuck up. Now you pay the price. You got to come out and prove to dad that you learned your lesson and you became a better person. And I'll support you 110%. I'll give you everything I have just to make sure you're okay. But you have to show me that, yo, I'm a different person. You know? I am not out here thinking about all this negative stuff. No. No. Do what's right. Think about you could live until you're retired. Think about living and you go on vacations. I took my kids on vacation since they were born. Some people never even left this fucking country. I mean, I was born in Jamaica, but every year I make sure I go back home twice a year. You know, my kids and my wife when I was married. I'm not married now, but you know, when I was married for over 30 years, and I make sure I go home with my kids. And yes, folks, you might be like, 30 years? Yeah, because I kept myself out the street. I am 51 years old. My first one is 30 years old, my daughter. My son is 27 years old. I have two grandchildren, a 7-year-old and a 5-year-old. Two beautiful grandchildren. So I don't need to be running around, you know, out there or whatever. I am trying to preserve what I have left. Get my good sleep, you know, talk to you guys whenever I can, you know, and just do what's right. It doesn't cost me nothing. And it wouldn't cost you nothing either. And I've been doing this now for over 30 years, you know? And guess what? Ain't nobody calling me a punk or whatever. I've been living my life, you know, minding my own business for over 30, 40 years. I didn't get cussed out. Nobody beat me up. Just do what's right, man. Let me tell you something. There's nothing wrong with you being a nerd. You hear me? One of the coolest things right now, young folks, is for you to be a nerd. Just remember that, young folks. One of the coolest things right now is to be a nerd. Not to be a gangbanger, to be a nerd. You hear me? That's one of the coolest things right now. Don't follow these guys out there gangbanging. Don't follow their rhetorics. Don't follow what they believe in. Follow your own dreams and aspirations. Follow your education. Because that's what's going to really help you to catapult to the next level of life. Because a lot of these young folks out there, they could put a few words together, you know, hook and phonics, and say they could rap or whatever. They could make a substantial amount of money, but they don't know how to keep it. They don't know how to live amongst you and I with it. They use it for different things. And then you see, end up causing them their lives. So what good is it if I could give you a life, like for example, a 5-year lifespan where you could say, okay, I'm rich for 5 years, but within the 6th year, I'm going to die. If I say to you, young folks, I could follow some of these rappers out there, not just drill rappers, some of these rappers out there, and I could live and floss for 5 years, but then within the 6th year, I'll be dead or in prison for the rest of my life. Or I could go to school and learn a trade or learn a career and become somebody of society and work, sustain my livability, my family, live free, retire, also go on vacations, and I'll be free and live for the next 80, 90 years. Now, what would you choose? That 5-year span, why would that be tempted to you? That's 5 years. Versus what? I am 51 right now, okay? 5 years versus, say, 40 years. Let's say I was gangbanging when I was 11. 5 years versus 40 years. 5 years versus 40 years. That's 35 years that you could have lived extra that you threw away. If you start looking at your life that way, calculate it, analyze it, understand it, then you'll see what you're really throwing away. when it comes on to life. An astronomical amount of your life you're throwing away. An astronomical amount of your life you're throwing away. Just throwing it away. Either you're throwing it away to DOC, the slammer, Department of Corrections, or you're throwing it away to the graveyard. And if you still, and if you have money, you left it behind. So what good is it to you at that point? What good is it to you at that point? So you see, folks, young lads, be your own thinker. Don't let no one think for you. Be a leader out there, young folks, not a follower. Be a person of example. Be a distinguished person. Don't be afraid to be shy. Don't be afraid to be naive. Don't be afraid to not want to learn certain things the fast way. Don't be afraid to be a nerd. Don't be afraid to have your education. Don't be afraid to say, hey, I want to go to college. Don't be afraid to say, yo, I want to be a police officer. Don't be afraid to say, yo, I want to be a doctor. Don't be afraid to say, yo, you know what? I want to be a therapist. Don't be afraid. Because those people live long, longevity, with a 401k, a house, a yard, a dog, a family, a life. Something that you don't live and you didn't live with that 5-year span of millions. I hope so many young folks take away from this today. I really do. Because you're shortening your life every day. You shorten your life like a couple of years. Every day. For what? For what? I don't need to prove to you that I am this or I'm that. No. If I have certain talents, I'm going to exercise my talents and do what I'm doing. But I don't need to prove to the next man that I am this or I'm that. You know, if you're about your money, be about your money. Focus on what you do, your money, your goals, your aspirations, not another person. Because when you focus on that person, the devil is just going to just zoom you in the wrong way. And there comes negativity in your brain. You know, all this time you were thinking positive. Now comes the devil. Because you allow the devil to captivate your mind. And because of the captivation, all of that stuff becomes rambling, negative, just beating like a drum in your head, negative. Then because you have the negative friends out there, you hooked up with them, the same thing beating in their head, comes a collusion, then you guys just go out and do what's beating in your head because you collab together and just go out and do some dumb shit. So young folks, what I want you to take away today from this, be true to yourself, be true to your surrounding, learn yourself, understand yourself, watch how you move. Not every friend is your friend. Or not every friend is your friend. Study your friends. Study your friends because your friends are studying you. You hear me? Study your friends because your friends are studying you. Chronic Pain in a Demon. Out. Big up AK, Caddy, all of them. Big them up. Respect. Out.